Hi, I'm Alan Ross. I'm here at the IEEE PES, that's a lot of acronyms, conference. This is the 2020 version that is actually being held in 2022. These interviews that we're conducting is with thought leaders on the future of the power industry. So enjoy. My next guest is Eduardo Terzi. I love the way I said that. Yeah. From Siemens Energy. Eduardo, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the invitation.
Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about is the future. Yeah. Everything is changing. The electrical grid is changing, utilities are changing, but as it relates to particularly North America, what do you see as some of the changes that are taking place that we've got to get accustomed to?
Well, in Siemens Energy, we talk always about the 4Ds, the big trends that we see in this market. First is the decentralization, less big power stations and more small generation, and everything that comes with it. Decarbonization, we are living in a world that is dying, so we need to focus on decarbonization. Then digitalization.
I knew that was coming.
This is for sure.
That's my favorite one.
It has to be everywhere, and you can see here in this fair here, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And the fourth that we forget a little bit, but it's also a very important one, demand growth. There's a demand growth for countries like in Asia, they are growing very fast, more people being born, needing more people going up in the classes and social classes, having buy a microwave, etc. And plus the electrical vehicle and other things. So these 4Ds are driving and changing significantly the industry.
So, and they kind of all work together. It's not like you can't just separate all of them there, but you mentioned one, demand curve. It is projected, depending upon who you listen to, that demand in North America is going to grow in the next decade by 30% to 100% because of all of the things you just mentioned.
Absolutely.
Additionally, you've got data centers that are moving back to the North America. You've got Bitcoin mining, which takes a lot, China doesn't allow Bitcoin mining anymore. We brought it back here. So you got a lot of demand curve issues. How do you think that's going to affect utilities?
Yeah, I think the grid will become much more, will be much more sensitive to failure.
Okay.
Yeah, and we will need to, as you said, we need to tackle the 4Ds at the same time.
Right.
So it's not only to building a lot more of coal power plants to take care of this demand, because you don't want more coal power. At least I don't want. Some people might find it's okay, but if we do not tackle the climate change now, it's going to be very, very bad in just 10, 15 years.
I don't think anybody is building coal-fired plants in the United States. They're being built in India and China.
Exactly.
It's very hard to get a permit to do a coal-fired plant. Yeah.
But that's a solution. We need to, the renewables will become here in the United States very, very strong.
Right.
At least the plans are very long. We need also the permits. It's something that it's not so easy to implement. So we need also more regulation and legislation that facilitate building these offshore projects, for example, here in East Coast. And the integration of these renewables is going to be very complicated because of the fluctuation, and not only photovoltaic, but the wind fluctuates a lot, and you need to tackle with this instability of the grids. For that, we need phase shifters, need shunt reactors, you need better control and protection systems, you need more intelligence in the grid with the digitalization, and you need more effects, so static wire compensators, capacitor banks that tackle this with modern power electronics. And this is something that the demand will be much higher, because without that, with a higher demand and more generation of renewables, it's going to be a disaster.
So everything that you just said it's a good time to be in the industry, right? It's a good time for an engineer. Yeah, it has changed. You are the Senior VP of non-switch products for Siemens Energy, which means transformers and...
power transformers, distribution transformers, bushings, instrument transformers, and coils.
And trench is the bushings division.
Exactly. Trench is the bushings, instrument transformers, and coils. We have two companies, Trench and the HSP, that are part of the Siemens Energy group.
So HSB, talk a little bit about that. What are they doing to adapt to changes that are coming?
Yeah, HSB is very famous for their dry type bushings.
Yeah.
With the most innovative bushings that we have to offer in the world. We use, customers are changing also from oil bushings to dry type bushings.
Right.
Part of the decarbonization, part of being more clean and environmentally friendly. Of course, the dry type bushings are a little bit more expensive, but customers are already making this switch to dry type products and avoiding using mineral oil. Right?
Yeah.
And HSP is very famous for HVDC bushings. You know,
Right.
the bushings for HVDC transformers or for the wall bushings are very, very special and requires very high quality. And HSP is very famous for that, not only for the projects that we have in China, for State Grid, is the largest utility in the world, but also the HVDC projects that we have around the world.
Okay. And the trench side, talk a little bit about that.
At trench, we do have also oil bushings. Also in our factory in France, we do have dry type bushings that we built after the acquisition of Trench in China for the local market and also for export. And we have several factories for instrument transformers and coils.
Okay.
Coils is a dry type reactor, air insulated reactor, which is very environmentally friendly. And it's a big demand also not only for HVDC products, but all the products that I mentioned that tackle the fluctuation in the grid, like SVCs, all the effects, Right. Capacitor banks, you need the reactors to compensate reactive power. You need the reactors built by Trench. And the other part of Trench is instrument transformers, voltage transformers, current transformers that reduce the voltage for measurement and protection. And we are launching now the PVT power VTs, which also follows the 4Ds. We have more and more electrical vehicle, and you have stations in the middle of roads where you do not have substation there.
Right,
and you can put a power VT directly from a high voltage transmission line to feed the chargers. Yeah. So it's a clever invention. And
it is a clever innovation.
And then you are also selling power VTs also with ester oil that do not have mineral oil. And you can put this station in many, imagine United States how many roads there are, and you need to feed these stations directly from the high voltage or ultra high voltage lines.
Excellent. You mentioned one of the Ds, digitalization.
Yeah.
How is digitalization affecting your company?
Well, we talk about internally and externally. Internally is, of course, it's Industry 4.0, a data-driven company using data to make decisions and artificial intelligence in the factories, in the headquarters. This is clear. What is new and that we launched a few years ago was the Senseformers, Sense Gears. The products that are connected to the cloud.
Okay.
So our vision is that every single product that leaves our factories will be born connected, already with an IoT gateway that brings the data from the products to the cloud, where they can be processed and can tell the customers much more than what they have today. I'll give you an example. We launched today the Care Pole. It's a dry type pole mount, also dry type without oil.
I read that. Yeah.
So I have a vision, a personal vision. In the future, we will not have oil anymore. So, of course, the power transformers, the large power transformers you need, but at least with ester oil. But for the smaller products, we'll look back and say, my God, we have pole-mounted transformers with oils, with mineral oils that are leaking and also for now instrument transformers, we are launching also optical instrument transformers completely without oil. So I think the future is without oil. But going back to the digitalization, the Care Pole has the connectivity. You know exactly where the transformer is. If it fails, you know exactly. First of all, it is on or off. The utilities do not know. They start receiving calls from residential customers and say, I have a blackout. What's that? And they need to send a service, a car there to look and see, trying to find out which transformer failed. And they don't even know if it's on or off. With the connectivity, you know exactly if it's on and off. You can locate easily to replace it quickly, and you'll improve the quality of the network. But better than that, you check the load, and the system tells already, look, in the last 3 weeks, the transformer is working with 80% overload. Go there and replace for a bigger one before it fails.
Yeah, okay.
So it helps a lot to avoid the loss of equipment, and the help is to manage the fleet much more intelligently. So, and reduce the service time as well.
So your 4Ds kind of covers change, and you all are focusing on the change. I want to talk a little bit about IEEE. I know you're relatively new to IEEE, but as a company, Siemens has been there before IEEE, and a lot of the engineers within Siemens work on committees, support things, support the standards organization. Just kind of in general, what do you think the value IEEE is to Siemens, and vice versa? What does Siemens bring as a value to IEEE?
Absolutely. As you mentioned correctly, I have several engineers or firms engineers in IEEE participating in committees and driving, writing the new norms, bringing new ideas. And I'll give you an example. The CarePole, there is no working group yet for the dry type pole mounted. So we will work together with IEEE and we create the norms for dry type pole mounted transformers. So the knowledge of the engineers can bring a lot to the industry, and well, colleagues from the other companies as well. That's for sure. If I see today here, after 2 years that we didn't have any personal contact, so the value of being here and exchanging ideas with other companies, with customers, it's priceless.
I know, it is priceless.
So this is fantastic. It's one place, it's the place in the United States where you meet the top experts, also from other factories, also from competitors, from partners. It's really fantastic. So it's so rich, and this is something that we Siemens value very much.
All right. So the 4Ds again: decarbonization, digitalization, decentralization,
and demand growth.
Demand growth. I knew there was one I was going to
we always tend to forget that, but it's very important.
That's exactly great. All right. So thank you, Eduardo. I appreciate you joining with us.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
bye.
Bye-bye.